You know, when it came to Cozy Glow being the Season 8 finale's villain, at first a lot of people were surprised at the fact that a filly was going to be the villain. And a lot of people were questioning why. But the moment she debuted in Marks for Effort, pretty much it was already alluded to that there was something off about this character. And not only off, but the fact that she was intent on learning certain things about the school to try to get in and be a, what's the saying, a model student. I mean, she went as far as to basically use the CMCs to get what she wanted. Yes, she kind of took the blame for what they did, but she did all this to save face. Now, the reason I bring this up is because as we get into the second half of the season, we start seeing, as we get closer to the finale, we start seeing signs and hints that Cozy Glow is not exactly who she seems to be. I mean, the fact that she tried to cause dissension between the student/young six and stuff like that. The fact that she had something to do, if not was involved with the Flim Flam brothers getting copies of Twilight's lessons from her school to use at their friendship university. You know, you knew something was just not right about this character. Even, like I said, even as far back as Marks for Effort, which was in the first half of the season. But when you see how it all came together in the finale, you realize that Cozy Glow is the kind of villain that this series has always needed. A villain that's manipulative, calculating, and even in the spur of the moment is able to stay a step ahead. I mean, if you've seen the finale, depending on how you've seen it, in what country and what language, you will notice that Cozy Glow at certain times in the second part, in the second part of the finale, always seemed right in that moment, at the spur of the moment, seemed to always have a plan in place. I mean, if you watch how she got the students to go against Naysay by using his own words against him and manipulating those words to get the students to side with her against him, and then how she tried to do the same thing later on to have the students, side with her and go against the young six, the student six, who were basically trying to explain exactly what was going on and reveal that Cozy Glow is the real culprit behind all this. This is a villain that was desperately needed in this show. I mean, yes, we had some good villains. We had some calculating antagonists and villains in the past. Don't get me wrong about that. Don't get me wrong, but this is probably one of the first that basically always seemed to be a step ahead of everybody, even in the spur of the moment. I mean, think about this. Think about this. Even in the first part of the finale, she had packed up lunches for all the ponies, for the main six, Spike, and even Starlight, thinking Starlight was going to go with them. But when it's revealed that Starlight's staying behind, not only does this disappoint Cozy, but Cozy automatically comes up with a backup plan, comes up with another idea to get Starlight out of the way, and we find out at the end of how she did it. She basically lured Starlight into the catacombs, and then when she showed Starlight that orb that was sucking up the magic, she pushed her in obviously from behind and trapped her inside. So she always seemed to stay a step ahead, even when she wasn't expecting things to, not go the way she wanted them. She always seemed to have a plan in place. She always had a plan C or a plan B, but she always had something in mind. I mean, take a look at how conveniently the main six had this key to unlock the doors of Tartarus, when without a key, the only way you can unlock it is through magic, and with magic pretty much fading away and disappearing, they had this key conveniently stowed in to Twilight's bag by, who else? Cozy Glow. Because Cozy Glow knew they were going to need to get into Tartarus somehow, and the only way they could do that is to have some kind of artifact that could unlock any door, and just so happens that was the artifact that was needed. So yeah, Cozy Glow was exactly the kind of antagonist this series needed. I mean, with all due respect to all the antagonists that came before, they all had grand plans. They all had grand plans, in the motivations for doing what they do, in the motivations in doing what they did. But when one thinks about it, how many of them were always a step ahead of Twilight and her friends, even at the spur of the moment? How many of them? Not many, right? I mean, sure, you could say Starlight was kind of in that category, but still, Twilight was able to catch up with her. Twilight may have been able to outmaneuver her, and send her to different times and all that, but Twilight was always found a way to catch up with her until finally she was able to find out exactly why Starlight was doing this. And not only to find out, but also show her the consequences of her actions, and thus after seeing the backstory and understanding why, and then showing Starlight the consequences of her actions, only then was she able to give Starlight an opportunity. She was offering the hoof of friendship and saying, look, I'm willing to be your friend, and I'm willing to help you work this out, and possibly help find the friend that left. Find that friend of yours that left. So what happened? Starlight took the opportunity, right? She took the offer, and well, the rest is history. Tempest Shadow, if you count the movie, which obviously you have to, in a way, Tempest Shadow, when you find out about her backstory, which some people might say is kind of similar to Starlight's, when you see what her backstory is about, and then you kind of see why she didn't befriend but aligned herself with the Storm King because she wanted a horn back, only to find out that the Storm King wasn't going to live up to his end of the bargain, and to see Twilight saving her from being sucked up into the Storm King's storm that he created, and then seeing the near sacrifice Twilight made to save her friends in Equestria, only then does she realize, there are those out there that are willing to be friends with her and sacrifice themselves for the friends in the end. Thus, which is why she did what she did to save the main six and Spike from being turned to stone. She was given a second chance. Right then and there, she was given a second chance. She saw basically the reality of friendship, and she was given a second chance at redemption and friendship herself. However, when you look at Cozy Glow, here's a character that not only wrote back and forth as pen pals with of all antagonists, the one that sucked up energy just to use it for his own in Turek, not only was she pen pals with this villain, but by writing back and forth, she was getting the information she needed to put her plan into motion. And no one knew. No one knew that any of these letters that she was receiving from her pen pal were from Turek. Because we all know that if Twilight would have found out that, wait a minute, your pen pal's with Turek, she would have been able to put two and two together, and Cozy Glow wouldn't have been able to get away with what she wanted. But the fact that she was able to hide these letters from Twilight and the others, and still continue to act like the so-called model student that she was pretending to be. Basically, she proved to be one of the most threatening antagonists and villains that the main six and even the friends and the students, if you will, have ever faced. Because the fact that she was able to use a different method of draining energy, draining magic out of Equestria, so she could become the Empress of Friendship, thus the Empress of Equestria, because pretty much her motivation or her reasoning is, oh, if I have more friends, I'll have ultimate power. You know, yeah, it may sound ridiculous, but when you think about it, it's kind of ingenious. You have a cult following, you have people, you have all these different ponies and creatures following you, believing every word you say, and thus the more your cult grows, the more your group grows, the more power you obtain. The more power that you have, that grows as well. So in the end, when you think about it, like I said, I believe earlier, Cozy Glow kind of got what she deserved as punishment. I mean, basically, think about it. She pushes Starlight into this orb, which is sucking up all the energy, all the magic from Equestria. Starlight has already been sucked out of her, and yet, in a sense, her life force is also, along with whatever magic she has left, is being sucked out of her as well. Basically, this orb she got trapped in is killing her. And Cozy Glow couldn't give a flying you-know-what. And the same thing after the students got sucked in trying to save Gallus, because he accidentally fell in. You know, she didn't give a flying you-know-what. And this basically was the eye-opener, I think, for the students that were following her. Like, wait a minute. This is not right. This is not what... you know, Miss Twilight would want us to do, or any of our professors would want us to do. And they kind of have a point. And basically, the fact that, you know, as I've mentioned before, in the other videos and in the text I did, the MLP forums, the fact that she basically mocked what the elements were about, you know, generosity, honesty, whatever. You know, she goes, I mean, basically she mocks them. She basically tells, after, you know, Sambar and the other students kind of explained that what, you know, Twilight and her friends taught them, you know, came back to help them, came back to allow them to, you know, came back to help them and allow them to defeat Cozy. What does Cozy do? Cozy mocks the elements. She says, oh, generosity, loyalty, honesty, blah, blah, blah. It's like she doesn't care. She doesn't care that she nearly sucked out the life of Equestria, all because she wants to rule, all because her main goal was to be the Empress of Friendship, the Empress of Equestria. That's all her main motivation was. She couldn't care about anything else. And like I said earlier, the fact that she was willing to do it, and like I said before, the fact that she was willing to go and do it someplace else, if she couldn't do it at Twilight School, that shows you right there that there's not an ounce of redemption in her. Because even when Twilight said, look, you got it all wrong. Yes, friendship is a powerful thing, but power is not the reason you make friends. I mean, the fact that Twilight kind of used a speech like that to kind of get Cozy Glow to realize the error of her ways, and it didn't work, shows you she doesn't have an ounce of redemption in her. But overall, when you think about it, that's the kind of antagonistic villain fans have been wanting. Philly or not, she is the kind of villain fans have been waiting for. One that no matter what you say to them, don't give a flying you-know-what. They don't. Now, does it set up a return for her next season? Possibly. Is she going to be part of a big group of baddies that are going to go up against the main six and their allies and the student six in an all-out fight? Who knows? But one thing can be assured. When you think about this, the way she was presented, the way she came to be, the way this character came to be, the way she was always seemingly a step ahead all the time, the way she outsmarted all the protagonists, and even, like I said, in the spur of the moment, was able to be a step ahead, or it was able to stay a step ahead, of those that were against her, or those that stood in her way. It shows you that this is the kind of antagonist, not just a show like MLP needs, but any show that's been made in the past and the present. You need this kind of villain because it keeps things fresh and interesting, because now you pretty much realize that the protagonists, the good guys, in this case Twilight and her friends and her students, have an antagonist they know that if she's ever free from her Tartarus prison, can always find a way to stay a step ahead of them no matter what. If that ever happens, they know that they're going to have to stay a step ahead of her. Even more so, they're going to have to stay maybe 2 or 3 steps ahead of her, because they know she's going to stay a step ahead of them. So overall, Cozy Glow was definitely a villain that, despite how you feel about her, being a Philly, and despite how you feel about her being sent to Tartarus, when a lot of people will say, like I mentioned earlier, Starlight and Tempest and even Discord did things just as bad and just as worse as what she did, the thing is, they were given a second chance. They saw the error of their ways. They saw the consequences of their actions. They saw the near sacrifices made to do the right thing. And in turn, Cozy Glow didn't. Cozy Glow, again, despite everything that happened, just did not give a flying you-know-what. She didn't. And this is why she was given the proper punishment she got. But again, it does set up the fact that if she comes back next season in some way, shape, or form, that basically it puts the protagonist, the ponies, Twilight and her friends and the students, in a situation to where if that happens, they're going to have to stay 2 or 3 steps ahead of her, because they know she's always going to stay a step ahead of them. So overall, again, I know I sound like I'm repeating myself, and I do apologize if this is near 20 minutes. But when you think about it, in the end, Cozy Glow was probably the best villain they got so far. Because not only was she manipulative, she was not only conniving, but she was calculating, and she always was able to stay a step ahead, like I said, even in the spur of the moment, or when pretty much things didn't go the way she planned. Like I mentioned with Starlight and Naysay. I mean, like I said, when it was revealed Starlight was going to remain behind, yeah, it disappointed her, but she was able to come up with a different way of getting Starlight out of the way. She came up with it. She came up with it basically just like that. Spur of the moment, if you will. Same with what she did by having the students go against Naysay, the same way she had when she had the students go against the young six, making them think other things instead of the truth. So, yeah, Naysay, a great character. I mean, not Naysay, but Cozy Glow, a great villainous character. And who knows if we'll see her again in Season 9, but I guarantee if we see her in Season 9, and let's say we have all the major baddies teaming up to go against Twilight and the rest of the main six, Starlight, Spike, and even the CMCs, can you imagine the confrontations you will get? I mean, think about the CMCs going up against Cozy Glow. Basically, this is personal for them because here's a pony they thought they could trust, but all she did was manipulate and use them to get what she wanted. That's going to be epic in its own right. It really will. It really will. Think about it. So, overall, though, I know this video has gone over 20 minutes. It's going on about 22 minutes. I am kind of recording this outside, and I have vehicles and stuff all over. So, but yeah, Cozy Glow is definitely a villain that I think was what this series really. I think honestly, fans have been waiting for, despite, like I said, how you feel about her being a filly and how her punishment came to be. You have to agree that she's a villain that was worth waiting for. So that's all I'm going to say, guys. Thank you all for listening. I'm sorry if I kind of rambled a little bit and repeated myself, but let me know what you think down below. Comment if you like, and I'll talk to y'all later. I'm going to go get me some lunch now while I can.